Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Being in this industry since I was in college, one of the things I think we take the most pride in is Aspen Sound's been such a presence in Missoula for almost 40 years. The cool parts about our job is people always ask me, what do you do for a living? I sell fun. Whether it's as simple as window tint all the way up to integrating a backup camera into a factory screen. I'm pretty excited about the options we can present.
Well, Schmidt, you're finally getting what you want. You're going to have an unfettered, no rejoins, no telephone calls, unedited. You can say whatever you want. You can say as many swear words as you want. This is like, it's like your dream come true.
My mom is going to kill me, but this is, she always told me I should get into sports media or broadcast journalism. So here I am, making my debut with you. I promise not to cuss too much. We'll see.
That's good. That's good. For those who've been following along, Andrew Schmidt joins us sort of sporadically on Skyline Sports, but especially when we want to talk conference football realignment. He joins us annually on Nuanez Now on ESPN Montana, talking all things Masters. But he and I BS on the text threads quite a bit about this stuff. And I was like, you know what? We're on this Griz fan podcast text thread, and we have to be like these two guys that listen to every episode, and they talk about us and the things that we say. And we don't ever, I mean, we get to be on like a couple
once a year. Yeah.
Right. Once a year. And it's usually right after the Bobcat game. So I get to either go in there and say, man, gosh, the Griz are so great, or gosh, what the heck's happening? And, this is how Montana State's lapping the field. So we were like, okay, those guys have been around for long enough. We've been around for long enough. Let's have a spinoff. Let's do it like the old school TV sitcom style. So I don't know. What do you think we should call this thing? What should we call our weekly installments here?
We could probably crowdsource it or something.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us on Twitter.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, you can always reach out to me, A Schmitacular on Twitter, or X if you prefer, and tell us what this should be called. I just saw The Office has a new spinoff called The Paper, which wasn't Parks and Rec kind of like a spinoff of The Office? So kind of we're kind of like that. And to your point, yeah, we're in that text thread, and I love being in it. But I feel like I have a duty to listen to every single episode every minute, because I know they're gonna say something that I said on there, and I have to respond to it, and then it's been great, but I'm glad to have another, I guess, outlet, so to speak. And we're both part of the fantasy team, the Griz Fan Pod Fantasy League, which you won last year. Congratulations, Colter.
Yeah. That was a good one for me. Of course, it was a no stakes league because we had a 10-year-old in it. I really wish it was one of my high stakes leads so I could have made some money off of it. But either way, Andrew and I will be talking primarily Griz football, but also some Big Sky Conference and FCS football and whatever else we can get to. So
whatever you want, gambling, if you want to do that,
let's go.
Want to you do whatever you want.
Okay, let's start there then, completely off the cuff. You sit in Denver as we record this.
Yeah.
Give me the buzz and the Broncos, because I think that the Broncos are one of the most intriguing teams from a betting perspective on the board. Like when you're talking about preseason over-under win totals, like the Broncos are between 8.5 and 9.5, depending on the book you're looking at.
Did you read that article by Seth Wickersham on Sean Payton?
I did, and I also listened to a Diana Rossini podcast. She's also close with Sean Payton, but they were both saying like Sean Payton just loves this team.
Yeah, well, so a little inside baseball here. Sean Payton was my dad's graduate assistant at San Diego State in the early 90s. Okay, I've known Sean Payton since I was a little kid. He used to do all the GA things, like take us to the airport and get the coaches sandwiches and stuff, right? Like he was awesome. He would run scout team, and then he got the running backs job, and then he worked his way up, and it's just like an offensive mastermind, right? So anyway, I thought that article was really interesting because Sean Payton breaks down like negative plays per like average per quarterback, right, in his draft, and it was like I don't want to, put numbers out there because I'm just pulling it off the top of my head, but it was like sacks, interceptions, fumbles divided by plays, and that draft that they had, it was like Caleb Williams was like 20% or something crazy, and then Drake May was like 13%, and then Bo Nix was like 3%. And it was like the lowest he'd seen. And it like he was talking about how Patrick Mahomes was the guy that he wanted, and then Kansas City moved up and took him before, like when he was with the Saints, and now he has a guy that he feels is like kind of in that same class. And I don't think Bo Nix is in that class, but like to have a guy that doesn't make turnovers and is kind of like a poor man's Drew Brees, or maybe Drew Brees 2.0, where he can not turn the ball over, make short passes with timing, and they're they're going to be good. I mean, they always have a good defense. Sean Payton's a great offensive mind. Like, the buzz around town here is that they're going to be good, and I actually think they're going to be good. I think they have all the parts they need.
Well, that's exactly what he told Diana Rossini. He's like, I love this kid because he never gets sacked. That's like Sean
Yeah.
Payton's big thing, right? He doesn't want sacks. He doesn't want negative plays like you're talking about. And it's just interesting to see the rise. I don't know. I mean, I'm ambivalent about the Broncos. I think they're fine. I've never been a Broncos fan or a Broncos hater, but living in Montana, it's fun when they're good because there's so many people that like them. And,
I mean, I'm a recovering Chargers fan, and
oh man,
and like as again, my dad was at San Diego State, like kind of formative years of my life. My teams are in Southern California, and then when they moved to LA, like I don't like Dean Spanos or that entire family. So once they moved to LA, I was like, once they sell the team, maybe I'll root for them again, or if they move back down to San Diego. But the thing about I've paid attention to that league forever. The thing about them is that Patrick Mahomes is in it, and the Raiders aren't going to be that bad. They got Pete Carroll, right? They're not going to be bad. The
could be better.
Chargers have Harbaugh. Like it's a tough division. So I don't know. There could be three playoff teams in it. I don't know, but it's going to be hard, and the Chiefs aren't going to be good forever. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers had down years. Tom Brady seemingly didn't, but guys typically they're not always the best, right? That sometimes they don't win the division. So the Broncos could win it. They could sneak up on the Chiefs. I think they have the ability and the players too.
We'll talk more NFL as the season grows closer, and also
Over. I guess what I'm saying is over.
I
Take the
love the over,
over.
dude. I love the over too. I absolutely do. All right, so I've crafted my narratives quite a bit, both on Nuanez Now and here on the Big Sky Breakdown over the last several months. July is the time for the speculation and the prognostication and all that. What do you think is the primary? I'll give you mine after you go, but what do you think is the primary narrative for the Montana Grizzlies entering this year, 2025, the 14th season and 15th year under Bobby Hauck at the helm?
Uh, can they win the Big Sky again, and can they get to the national championship again? I think that's with 8 home games. I don't think that they have any other option besides those two goals, right? I mean, I think they kind of have to. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Right.
It's you're either growing or you're dying, right? And
Yep.
if we're not getting back to championship aspirations and winning the league and getting to the championship, and hopefully winning the championship, I think it's kind of a lost year. And I don't know if that's really fair,
Oh, it's
but
fair.
I mean, it's what the Montana Grizzlies should be, right?
Absolutely.
And I think since I've been done playing, um, and we've had a string of coaches, and Bobby's been back. Since that time, North Dakota State has won what, like 11 championships,
10.
and
Yep.
10, and South Dakota State has won two, and we have had one appearance since 2010. We've had one appearance, 15 years, one appearance. And all of that has happened in the interim. Like we used to be that, and we need to get back to that. And if we're not getting back to that, then we need to figure out how.
And I'll go one step deeper because in the post-pandemic era, Montana showed great progress, I thought, in 21 compared to 18 and 19, Coach Houck's first 2 years back. Beat Washington, beat the Cats, broke the losing streak to the Cats, which I thought was very important just for the state of the rivalry. And then it kind of fell apart on them in the playoffs in 2021 because they had the
Mhm.
injuries. They got the weird draw with having to go to James Madison. The
Yeah.
Cats got lucky or whatever because they got the 8 seed. They had to go to Sam Houston, whatever. That you can splice
Yep.
this, that, and the other thing, but go get the number 1 or 2 seed. You don't have to worry about your draw regardless. But either way, that Grizz team was pretty good in 21, beat Washington and went to the playoffs. Ran into a buzzsaw. I mean, I thought they played the second best team that was just in the quarterfinals. But no shame there, in that third year of a rebuild, winning 10 games, go to the final 8. And then 2022, huge expectations. Preseason number 2. Doesn't happen for them. They fall apart down the stretch. And again, I know that Grizz fans love to have all these caveats and et cetera. And I know Lucas Johnson got cheap shotted at Sac State, and I know all these different things. It doesn't matter. You're Montana. You
A
can't.
ball also got like kicked off the front line of the kickoff. Like the guy doesn't know where he is and just ball hits him in the head and Sac State recovers.
Right,
Like
right.
that game was ridiculous.
It was
But yeah,
ridiculous. Regardless, you can't go 8-5 if you're Montana, especially
no.
if you're preseason number 2, and you've got a stacked defense that's led by, multiple NFL guys like Patrick O'Connell and Alex Gubner, et cetera. Robbie Houck's on that team. It all fell apart. I mean, they got their asses kicked in Bozeman. Embarrassing ending of the season, no matter the reasons why. But then they have the swing back, and 2023 is the year that everybody wanted when Coach Houck got brought back to town, the
Mhm.
RTD. The last step, though, you got to get over the top against, one of the elites and win the national championship. That did not happen. And then last year, a regression, and I thought a regression that was steep in terms of their particularly defensive talent and their defensive performance. We'll get into that here in just a little
Are you
while.
sure you want to? I don't want
I
to get any
mean,
more mean tweets at me. And it's like,
man, but the fact of the matter is, though, I think this year the narrative is exactly what you said. Can they chase a Big Sky championship, given the favoritism of their schedule and just the status of their staff within the program? And this, they've been here long enough. Like year 8 in a rebuild is not a rebuild.
no.
You have to be great at this point. But also, I think was 2023 an anomaly, or is 2023 the reality? Are we? Is the program trending up and you can replicate 2023 in short order? Or is 2022 and 2024 more like what you actually are at 23 was just a nice run? And I think that's one of the things that makes this such an entertaining season to sort of dive into analyze.
Well, like, I don't want to say it can't get worse because it can always get worse, right? I mean, things can always get
Right.
worse. But that defense last year was just bad, just not athletic, not big, not strong, not tough, not anything. And it's like when they lost all of those guys from the 23 team, I guess we didn't realize how big those shoes were to fill, like Gubner and Braxton Hill and all those guys. That team was just that they were not fundamentally sound. They were not strong at the point of attack. I mean, you just got to turn on the cat game and watch what they did to them. It was not great. And as a guy who bleeds maroon, right? That was hard to watch, and it's always hard to watch when you get just manhandled like that, seemingly every time we go to Bozeman now. So it can always get worse, all right? But from what I've been seeing, right, it looks and I've been talking to coaches and talking to people, and it seems like everyone is uh, more impressed with the players we have now that are transfers that are coming in. At least they'll be big and athletic and strong, and we'll see if they can play. But they'll probably be better than they were last year. And they're running up. I mean, this is a risk. This is a gamble. You bring in all of these transfers. If you don't hit on them, they're gonna suck. It's like just what it is. If they do hit on them, they could be a national championship team. We don't know. It's going to be hard to find. I guess we'll find out in the first few games of the season. But if they don't hit on these guys, it could be a long year. If they do hit on them, they could be undefeated going into the cat game. It's hard to know where we're at.
The concept of transferring and the transfer portal has become so much more mainstream to the common college football observer, but it's not new. And also, Bobby Hauck putting a high priority on getting good transfers is also not new. You saw that
Mhm.
time and a time again when you were playing.
Mhm. Yeah.
It wasn't 28 transfers like this year's team
No.
has, but he would always go get himself a Craig Chambers or an Eric Allen or a Reggie Bradshaw or, on down the line.
Josh
I
Swagger.
mean, Josh Swagger,
Yeah.
Cavario Middleton. I mean, we could name
Yeah.
transfers for days. Some of those guys were really good players when you were
Mhm.
playing for the Grizz and Hawk 1.0. Some of those guys were not. Like some of those guys were washed out so fast. I
Yeah.
remember that receiver from Notre Dame. What was his name? Rodimer.
Rodney Rodimer
Man, that
lasted
guy.
like fall camp
That
and then
was
was
it. He
gone.
was he
He
was
was just gone.
he was out. He
Uh,
did not want
Al-
any of that.
yeah, Alex Kessman, who was the transfer from BYU running back who got kicked out for drinking a Coke or drinking a
Yeah,
Starbucks.
yeah, Kessler.
Kessman lasted half of spring ball and then was on Bully Beatdown on MTV. I don't know if you guys remember that show, but Bully Beatdown, he was on because he like bullied his brother and then he got beat up by a UFC fighter on MTV. Yeah. We actually funny story about this. Kessman, he was playing spring ball and then we have spring break. So that's the way Bobby breaks it up every year. So you have 2 weeks, then you have spring break, and then you have another 2 weeks. So we had our 2 weeks with Kessman. He was there, and then spring break happens, and then he's just gone. Like he's not on the team anymore. He just didn't show up, right? So we found out about it because we were coming back in from practice for spring, and there was a Missoula Phoenix, the semi-pro team that we
Yeah, the
had.
Phoenix / Raptors.
Yeah, they were playing a game in Washington Grizzly Stadium, and then we heard on the intercom like Ryan Kessman with the carry. And we're like, oh my gosh, he's not, that's where he is. He was
Wait,
playing with
was
them.
it? I don't think it was Ryan or Aaron or you said it right. Was it Alex? No, it was Eric. Eric Kessman, right?
Oh, it might be Eric Kessman. Yeah,
Kessman
am
is
I
only
saying
ABB.
Alex Kessman? It's Kess. The last name is Kessman.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it
know
was
that.
totally Kessman. I totally remember the last name. Okay, so the question is though, what does it take for a transfer to specifically acclimate to Bobby Hauck's program? I know sometimes you're talking apples and oranges, but I do think that there's a couple things about Hauck 1.0 and 2.0 that are distinctly similar to me. First of all, just the regimented way
Mhm.
that he does everything, and the high priority on team, all for one for all, no star system. That has been true since 2003. Uh,
That's why no one wears number one, right?
exactly. Like he got
Yeah.
rid of number one in short order right when he came back. So
Yep.
what does it take for a guy to come in as quote unquote hot shot transfer and make it?
Well, I mean, one, you kind of got to be wired that way. Like if you come in and you're like I'm a me guy, like I'm trying to get mine. I don't care about the team. You're not going to make it. I'm not going to say that all those guys who are like that didn't make it, but it's kind of hard for those guys to make that transition if they come in and the practices and the discipline for saying stuff like me and that I'm a great player, stuff like that, and you have to go up to the M because you made a mistake in an interview. Like that a lot of people can't grasp that, and it's kind of hard for them. The other thing is like Bobby's kind of his practices are hard. Like I don't know if it's the same. I only have my experience with his program, right? I didn't play for any others besides like high school, right? So you don't condition in Bobby's practices or anything like that because the practices are hard enough to where you shouldn't be blowing wind during a game because your practice is going to be 10 times harder, right? There's like no hands on knees, no resting, no, you're jogging everywhere, on and off the field. If you're paying attention, maintaining the break, like when there's a play, it is highly regimented. And some people like, I have friends who played for like Oregon State under Erickson and like they would take their pads off in practice and like lay down during special teams period. Like I heard that, I'm like, I can't fathom something like that happening under Bobby. So kind of those, you kind of got to be a hard worker and kind of like a team oriented guy to make it and to stick with it. Not saying you can't if you're not, but usually those guys like Eric Allen and Swagger and Bradshaw and JD Quinn and Brent
So,
Russum and
yep.
all of those guys were like real tough, like team first guys. Like they weren't out for them. So that's kind of what you need to make it.
There's always a party in Montana, whether you're going to a wedding, a football game, a concert. Montana Party Bus can get you there safe and will take you anywhere in Montana. You can relax with friends in style, luxury, and safety. Western Montana based for local and regional travel within Montana borders. Montana Party Bus is great for both large and small groups with a capacity of up to 30 guests. If you want to elevate your event, call them anytime, 406-200-8096. You can also visit mtpartybus.com. Travel anywhere in Montana in style with the Montana Party Bus.
At Five Valleys Restoration, your view is our view, and what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full Five Valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community. Our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here, and we love it.
Bobby has been adamant and I would dare say defiant even early here in fall camp. We were only 3 days in, and every time he's asked about new guys, he's said two things. One, we know these guys understand the way we do things, and that's why we recruited them to come here. And two, nobody's knew we had these guys in the fold since at least May, if not January, and we've gotten to work with them for 8 or 9 months, which I would still define as new.
Yeah.
That's different than having fifth-year seniors that have been with you for 5 years as opposed to 9 months. But
Right.
anyway, he is trying to craft that narrative himself that, hey, I know that the community and the state and the league and the country all think, hey, we got 64 new guys on our team. We got 28 transfers and 36 freshmen. Nobody knows what we're going to be. He knows that, and he's trying to say, but we are already a team. We are already cohesive. These guys are already about what we're about. So it'll be interesting. It is funny because a lot of times when I've seen Coach Hauk first couple practices of a fall camp, you always look for the transfers first. And there's always been, even in 2.0, a handful of guys that are not cutting it. They're puking. They didn't come in ready. They're dying. There was only one dude who was struggling the other day, and he was struggling because he was getting beat like a drum during team, and then they made him do up downs because he was getting beat. But that was extra punishment for the guy. It was Patrick Batan, the transfer tackle from NC State. But I don't think it was because he was, not bringing his best. I think he was just swimming a little bit. But there wasn't a lot of the loafing. So maybe Coach Hauk.
Yeah, well, look at the guys that they kind of brought in, and we talked about this. We're texting with like it. Seemingly, they're all married, right, and or have kids.
Totally.
And I was talking to Justin at the golf outing,
Justin Green.
and Justin Green, yeah, and recruiting coordinator, and was like, yeah, we look at their Twitter profiles, and like we can tell right away if a guy's not a guy that would fit here, right? So I imagine that they had a good idea of who these guys were, and it's like, hey, I have a family at home, like I have bigger commitments, like I'm this team first type person. Usually that kind of lends itself, right?
Well, no doubt. And then you actually can connect the dots because they have a handful of guys. They either are transferring from military academies or were highly recruited by military academies out of high school. I think that's a pretty seamless transition. They have a handful of guys that are married, seamless transition. A guy from NC State seems like a long ways away. Well, that's Dave Dorn hooking you up with the guy, right? Dave Dorn was at Montana. So he's like
DC
saying,
for the national championship
go
team,
here.
right?
They got 3 guys from Cal, and talking to all 3 of those guys, they said, hey, we were just tired of losing. Coach Hauk said, hey, here we win, and we didn't want to not win, so we came here to win. So I do think they do have a very strong method to their madness. I'm just so interested to see how it comes together.
Yeah, and they got guys from Utah, right, who, Kyle Whittingham, same type of hard-nosed coach, and then or they have Samoans, right? Polynesians who are very family-focused people, right? So you're part of a family, you kind of transfer that over to a team aspect, kind of fall in line with what they're looking for. So, I mean, again, yeah, we'll see if they can cut it or if the players are any good. You can be as hard-nosed and tough as you want, but if you can't play, you're still going to lose, right? So hopefully they can all play. We'll see.
I'm so interested to see how much. To me, it was so obvious. It was like 15 minutes of watching practice on Saturday. You're like, oh, they're way more talented on defense. I don't even need to see it. They're way more talented.
Again, it can always
Hey,
get worse, but the team
hey,
last year was not good.
hey,
And my take that they are a bunch of me's, okay, was not that far off. I mean, I was early. I wasn't wrong, okay?
hey, I know, man, but like they have linebackers that are taller than us. That's good. That's a good
That's
start,
good.
you know?
Yeah.
Like they got
Hopefully they have safeties that are bigger than us as well that can are faster than me.
yeah,
Like that would be great.
yeah. So that was obviously apparent. I just want to know like what is the meshing though? If you have great talent, I mean, all these guys are recruited by FBS and some of them, a lot of them, Power Five programs. So you obviously have clearly like very top end talent.
Mhm.
Can you come together though? Like that's what I'm so interested in, especially defensively. Like none of these guys have started. They only have one guy who started 2 games on the whole defense. That's Caleb Otluski, who, by the way, is a transfer. He just was here before last year. But other than that, nobody that started. I'm
Well,
so
and
interested to see like
well,
how do you come together?
well, that's starting so far, right? So Harper, the safety, started for and then got hurt for BYU, right? He started some games. Um, I mean, we'll see how they line up and how good they are. I know getting reports out of camp, a lot of the transfer guys are with the twos right now, which I don't think is unexpected. I think Bobby makes you earn your stripes, so to speak. But if you flash in camp, he's going to give you every opportunity to start and play. That's what he does. Uh, we'll see. I mean, again, they have guys from Minnesota, BYU, USC, like everywhere. Everywhere is seemingly like Kennesaw State, Cal, NC State, just all over the place, all FBS programs, right? So, it's kind of two schools of thought, like, right? These guys, one, either not good enough to hack it, so they have to transfer down to actually play, or two, these guys just didn't get a fair shake, or tired of losing, or just wanted to play right away, and so they transferred down. So we'll see. Hopefully, these guys can all play and they can all mesh well. It's going to be an interesting camp. They don't have long, right? I mean, I was just looking. We have college football in 11 days is the Farmageddon in Dublin, right? College football season is almost here. It's almost here. So they got to figure it out in a hurry.
Big Sky Breakdown, Andrew Schmidt joining us, probably presented in part by Town Pump. Town Pump keeps us fueled up all season long. I'm headed in a little bit more than that, but about, I guess, 17 days to Eugene, Oregon to cover Montana State at Oregon. And we'll be on the road covering both Montana State, and the rest of the Big Sky Conference. Couldn't do it without Town Pump. They'll keep us fueled up all season long. Town Pump, Montana's best for more than 6 decades. You mentioned the schedule. How big of an advantage is the schedule? When you see 8 home games and you got two of your toughest conference opponents, Montana State and Idaho, coming to your barn, you don't play UC Davis. Your one tough conference road game's at Sac State. It just seems like it lines up for Montana. But I also wonder if that schedule, if the narrative of the schedule is a distraction, because you are sort of expected to just pound, 9 or 10 of the teams that you're playing.
Well, it's hard to win games in Washington Grizzly Stadium if you're an opponent, right? It's going to be loud for all of them. A lot of teams are not used to that environment. Some of them will be, like Idaho, I guess, will be, and the Cats will be, and they'll have players that have played in there. But with how big the Big Sky is, I don't know how many teams have, come to Washington Grizzly recently, so it's going to be hard, especially for those non-conference teams to, get out in and out of the huddle and get the snap count. And when it rains, it pours there for teams. Like all of a sudden you get a delay of game, a false start, and then you get sacked, and people are in the north end zone are just all on top of you, and it just falls apart for teams. So I mean, it's a good advantage to have. You have 8 games in the mecca of FCS, right? But like I think that's kind of I think that's kind of a misnomer, so to speak, of what Washington Grizzly Stadium is. Like the Mecca of FCS, I think kind of knocks it down to a level that it really isn't. Like the amount of people that are at that stadium each week dwarfs a lot of FBS teams.
Absolutely.
Texas State isn't getting that.
No.
UTEP is not getting that. New Mexico is not getting that.
And then you push it up
Right?
against the mountain, and
Yeah.
that adds to it. And then you talk about the no sidelines and how close it is. That adds to it. And then you talk about the fact that it's people from Montana. And guess what people that live in Montana do, especially ones that follow the Grizz? They drink liquor.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
get
do, man. And
loud.
like, I mean, I've been to games all over the Western United States. I sat in games in Pac-12 stadiums where there's 60,000 people there. They're not doing anything. They're sitting on their hands. It's not even close to as loud as Washington Grizzly Stadium.
No, they get loud, and they let you know exactly how they're feeling. Um, so like, yeah, I mean, like Mountain West schools wish that they could have, a lot of them wish they could have the atmosphere that uh that Washington Grizzly has, and it's not to put down like Wyoming and Colorado State and like those schools, but they're not Washington Grizzly Stadium. And so, Mecca of FCS, I mean, it's better than a lot of FBS programs. So those schools coming, North Dakota coming here, like it's gonna be uncomfortable for them. And we'll see if they can, if the teams, if the Grizz are good, it's definitely advantage Grizz. And having 8 games, they should have 8 wins out of that, all things considered. And if you have 8 wins already, you should be making the playoffs. And if you win some away games, you should be getting home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And I mean, we have like 12 games in Washington Grizzly Stadium this year, 11 games in Washington Grizzly Stadium this year. That's a lot, right? And that's a hard road for any team to go through. So yeah, it's a great advantage. Like, I don't think we can talk about it enough or oversell it. It is an advantage.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
So the schedule sets up. The talent is visibly improved, especially defensively. But yet, I think that the fan base is going to be collectively dwelling upon one primary storyline, and that is who the heck's going to be the quarterback, and then how does all the pieces fit in around him. It's just so interesting that the Grizz figured out a solution at quarterback in 23, and he was like the least talented of the guys that they've had. I'm not dogging on Clifton McDowell. I thought he was fine. But
Well, as a thrower, he was a playmaker,
yeah,
right?
he's a playmaker.
Yeah.
But he fit
Col-
Bobby Houck. And so I'm just so interested.
Yeah.
Just like that's what all the fans want to know. So how important is the quarterback battle to you? I know you haven't seen these guys live and in person in a long time, but I mean, is that fair that that should be one of the things that people are dwelling upon?
Well, yeah. I mean, because it got all fucked up last year. Like that whole thing messed with 2 quarterbacks to where we didn't have one that was playing well, and it sank, not our defensive side, kind of sank our offense where we had brought back a lot of talent, right? We brought back all of our wide receivers and our running backs and offensive line, and we don't have a quarterback who can get it done. And a lot of that, I think, is the fault of the coaching staff, which I know you can't say that, but I don't agree with this. Hey, iron sharpens iron. We need competition here. and we're gonna have you looking over your shoulder the entire time, and if you throw a pick, we're gonna pull you. And like I don't think that has ever worked in all of recorded history of college football. Like I do not think that works. If we go back to that again this year, I think people are going to lose their damn minds. I do, me included. So like I've been like vocal about this. I think you need and I put stats out there, like of the national championship winning quarterbacks from SCS the last 20 some, going back to 2003. I did it last year. Basically, all of them started at least 3 years and started as like sophomores or freshmen, and they built their way up and either made the championship game or became good. Right?
The three outliers were Joe Flacco at Delaware, who transferred from Pitt, but he had been in the program for 2 years, so that fit your model at least a little bit. Ben DiNucci at James Madison, he'd also transferred from Pitt, but he had also been there for a couple of years. And then Bo Levi Mitchell at Eastern Washington, and he was there for 2 years, but it was
he was at SMU, right? Yeah.
He was at SMU. Yep, correct.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I think this is a make or break year for right? And you either figure it out or they need to find a freshman or sophomore that can figure it out and then let that guy grow into the role his sophomore, junior, and senior year, right? And if he can't do it, then go to the next guy. Find a guy that can. But this idea of, well, hey, we're going to bring in a senior drop down and he's going to compete and we're going to split series. And if you throw a pick, we're going to put the other guy in and then you'll learn your lesson and you won't throw a pick the next time. That's bullshit. That does not work. That has never worked. Show me an example where that has worked. And I can tell you my model that we built out, right, works like 90% of the time. Like they all are multiple year starters who get and win these championship games. Look at Cam Miller. Look at Gronowski. Look at all of them. I mean, Trey Lance only started like 2 years and won it. He's like one of the least experienced guys, Carson Wentz and Easton Stick and like it just goes on and on and on. Armani Edwards, like all of these guys started multiple years, and if he can't figure it out this year, then fine, you go to the next one. But you have to let him be able to figure it out. You can't pull him if he throws a pick.
This has been my whole thought when it comes to IOT specifically. Montana State, what they did with Tommy Mellott is a great example. They anointed him the guy. And then they said, you are the man no matter what. And I know he had like some dual quarterback stuff with Sean Chambers, and most of that was health related as much as it was, split in time or whatever.
And goal line related and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Field position, all that. But there was never a day when they were saying anything but Tommy Mellott is the man. He's the face of our program. He's the face of our university. They were having Troy Anderson and Ty Okada do press conferences saying, we got so much faith in this guy, telling stories about him and conditioning, et cetera, et cetera. And it just built his confidence up. And on one hand, the story of the arc is pretty impressive. And on the other hand, some would say it actually took Tommy quite a long time to become a functional quarterback. But what do you get in year 4, right? You get the National Player of the Year.
Yeah, but with him, like, and we've talked about this in private, so all you guys hear now, what the Cats did with him was they analyzed what he did good. What can he do? And then they built their offense around that. They said, what can he do? He can throw a slot fade. Like he can throw a great slot fade and he can make plays with his legs. So what do? Like when we need a big pickup, we run the slot fade, right? And he completes it. Or we let him improvise, right? And get first downs with his legs and call plays to help him succeed.
Yep.
We have not seen that with Ayat. We have not seen that really out of this coaching staff, in my opinion. And I love Bobby. Except for, I guess, in 23 with Cliff, they tailored their offense around what Cliff does well.
Yeah.
And he was limited throwing the ball, but he did, like, the plays they ran for him were perfect for him.
Yes.
They need to do that with Ayat and give him the reins and let him grow as a quarterback the same way the Cats did with Mellott, because that's what got Mellott where he was as a senior. Like he would have never developed into what he was if they would have said, all right, we're going to have you run like 4 wide, check this read and throw a deep post. And like, that's not what he did well. Right.
Totally.
So
This is my biggest question on their offensive identity and also play calling is that when like Bobby Hauck, when he came back, he said definitively, here's the 3 biggest weaknesses we have to address. We don't have any corners. We got a bunch of receivers playing corner. That's bullshit. We're changing that. And they brought in guys like Justin Ford, and they fixed that part like boom, like that. They fixed the corner thing pretty fast. So we're not good enough on the offensive line. That's been a huge work in progress. They've gotten better, but are they good enough? That is like one of the big looming questions around the program. And then the third thing was we got to just be straight up better defensively across the board. But when he thought they had these weaknesses, particularly when he thought they weren't lights out defensively, they were actually really creative on offense. Like go look back at some of those the box scores from like when they played Idaho in the Kibbie Dome and they hung half 100 on them. Or like Sac State homecoming 2018 when they wore the throwback jerseys.
Yeah.
And they ran that crazy end around to Gabe Solser that made the stadium explode. They were the fake quarterback pitch with Dalton Sneed and into the quarterback counter. They run that sweet like try tight end set where they would have like bunch tight ends over here and then they'd flip them to the other side of the formation to help boost up their offensive line. They were doing all sorts of that stuff. I mean, they scored 72 in a playoff game in 2021 against Southeastern Louisiana.
I mean, yeah, with Touré, right? So
so then what happened?
They were going deep with him,
What happened? What happened though? That's what's crazy is like they have like intentionally offensively regressed because they want to win with defense first. And that's where Cliff was so perfect for them because they could do it like that. But I also just think it's taken last year they could have run so much simple stuff that would have helped out either or both quarterbacks given the defensive personnel they had, and they just didn't do it, and it was so maddening to watch.
And there was I think that quote that Bobby said where he was like, back in the past, our defense was so good that we just were like, hey, if our offense doesn't mess it up, then we're going to win some games. It's like, that's that philosophy you're talking about. Like what just dive, tight end out and then punt. And then hopefully we score 7. Like, how about this? How about we dominate on both sides of the ball and win 50-0? How's that sound?
This is the part where with the existence of the Bobcats and how great they've been in the last handful of years has to be so maddening for Bobby if you were getting him to be honest. Because what has Montana State done? Montana State's led the country in scoring 3 of the last 4 years, and they've also led the country in rushing offense 3 of the last 4 years. Like it can be done. You can just pass the rock and also average 40 points a game.
Yeah. And you can throw it around too, and you can get guys involved and be creative. Like Colter, I was listening or I was on Twitter and I saw Frank ask Bobby a question about the 2 quarterback system.
Oh man.
And Bobby's response was, our strategy is to win games. So whatever wins us games is the strategy we're going to use. And I was like, fuck me, it's happening again, isn't it? It's happening. He's trying to kill me. He is trying to kill me. He's gonna run the multiple quarterback bullshit again, isn't he? Oh gosh, it's gonna if they do that, we're gonna get a sponsorship with whatever local distillery is it there closer to you who wants to give some money. You ship it to me, okay? I will drink it on this thing each week, just pounding handles of saying 2 quarterback system. Let's get Schmidt drunk so that he can bear through this season. It's a travesty. I'm going to go drink myself into sleep.
Well, this has been an amazing debut. I'm up against it because I have to go do my radio show. But Andrew will be back because I want you to ruminate on some of these points. And we'll also talk a little bit more. I'll obviously have some more in-person evaluations of some of these guys. We'll also talk more about the dynamics of this team acclimating and coming together. Once we have games, this will certainly be an easier entry point, but fun having you here, buddy. And
and hey, guys, find us a name. We'll put it right here on the bottom.
And also find us a distillery because he's definitely running 2 quarterbacks this year.
Oh my God, you guys, get me beer, get me whiskey, get me anything. I like gin too, whatever you want. But we'll put the name. You guys tell us what it is. We'll put it across here, and we'll see you guys next week or when the season starts.